What's up, everybody? I am favorite patron Denise. Now, I know y'all seen my season like 2 seasons ago, and it was crazy. But we got some new hot stuff. Like he said, new co-host, new person. It's new everything. Just new everything. Let's get this party started.
It's going well. How are you, Mike? Come on, 21 questions. Well, again, thank you guys for having me, Patra. I love you. What's going on, y'all? This is James Barmore. And this ain't gonna be quick because we got episodes, we got series, we got things to talk about. So I was born in Detroit, Michigan, but I was raised in a small town of Ypsilanti, Michigan, 30 minutes outside of the city of Detroit. So I can never fully claim it because the girls from Detroit be like, girl, you don't go here. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
You're right there.
Right, I'm right there. You feel me? But I was born in Ypsi, or I was raised in Ypsi, I should say. I am not an only child. I am the oldest of 5, 3 on my mom's side and 1 on my dad's side.
I was gonna say, a lot of people.
So yeah, a couple, a tribe, if you will. So I am the oldest at 29. My dirty 30 is this June, and the youngest just turned 21. I want to say, John.
You said the youngest turned 21?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what it looks like.
That's none of my business. That's none of my business. Okay. I just knew I was the only child at one point, and then like 7 years later, I wasn't. So here we are.
That's a big gap. That's a big gap between yourself and the next child. So how was that? How was that gap?
I mean, honestly, I was really young. You know what I mean? So I really didn't. I don't think I had the wherewithal to really know what was happening or what was going on. But I mean, I was like, hey, like I got a little brother. It's cool. Like, you know, I'm down. And then another brother. And then another brother. So, it's all boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. That's crazy. 5. Okay.
Right. You know, it was giving the 5 heartbeats. It was giving the Temptations. It was giving.
Definitely.
You know. Yeah. I definitely wanted a sister. I definitely made it known to my mom. But you know, that just wasn't in the cards. But dealing with, I guess, I don't know. From my perspective, dealing with my little brothers, we weren't really a rambunctious bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were pretty well-mannered, well-behaved. You know what I'm saying? We all went to church. We all went to school. You know what I'm saying? So It was very together. From my mother's perspective, it might be a completely different story, but this is a story of James Eric Barmore Jr., baby. So that's what we're talking about this evening, okay? But yeah,
now, question. You said that you had it's 4 with your mom and 1 on your dad. Now, is your dad the father of the other boys under you with your mom?
He's not.
Okay.
So I have a stepfather, but you know, still very much my father. It's quotes because it's family is family. You know what I mean? So regardless of what we deem like stepfather or step cousin or stepbrother, you know what I'm saying? Like me spending as much time as I did, which is a good portion of majority of my life and all of their lives, through graduation and onward, like it's no longer anything that's step or half about it. It's family.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah. We'll get into it on the second episode.
So, are you the only one who had a separate father than the brothers that were born from your mother?
Yes, I was.
Was that ever an issue for you?
I'm gonna say yes in a very generalized response. Like yes, in the way of me not necessarily having direct access to my biological father.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it served its purpose because I still had access to a father. Period. You know what I'm saying? So for that, I'm very grateful for to have someone. Growing up, he wasn't. But as I grew older, like I think after I graduated, I was able to reconnect with him.
Graduate high school, graduate college, graduate
high school. Yeah, graduate high school. Mm-hmm.
Now,
I definitely was seeking him out.
Okay.
I feel like the relationship between my parents was a little strained, and that has its own backstory, but I use sole discretion and, you know, leave that story to them. So I don't want to give too much of that in regards to just respect for my parents, because their history is their history and they pass as they pass. But ultimately, what I like I said, what I was looking for was definitely a connection with my biological father. And once I had the opportunity to do that, like I went for it. Period.
Now, one more question. What about the relationship with the brother from your father's side? Is there a relationship there?
There is a relationship there. I feel like there's more building because he's just now getting into high school. I think he's like a freshman, sophomore in high school right now.
Teenager.
Yeah, so he's in his years right now. And just getting to know him, understand him, like navigate him is definitely something that's interesting. But I feel like the more that, you know, I have the opportunity and the experiences to really connect with him, the more that I'm able to establish that relationship. Because even talking to my biological father, and talking to him about my little brother, like he's like, you know, your little brother is running me crazy or running me rampant, and I'm like, okay, what happened now? You know what I'm saying? What he do today? You know what I'm saying? And that's just open and honest, you know, communication and chat. But at the end of the day, I know that he comes to me for the younger guidance, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what he goes through, Junior. I don't know what, you know, what he deals with in high school. So let me get your perspective, because you have some of the knowledge, you have some of the wisdom of what he could be experiencing at this time. So I definitely support my dad and support my little brother in the best way that I can. Correct. Top five. Okay. No, it's hilarious because it's kind of like low key giving drama, but it's really not giving drama.
It's giving palm without the shake. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, truly, I appreciate that. I respect that as well. I mean, I don't think I was the one that always got in trouble. I definitely feel like I was the test dummy. I say that all the time.
That's the oldest
Um,
child. The oldest child is
yeah,
normally the test dummy.
that's me. Like, let's see what he does. Let's see what we can, what path we can set him on. Right. What mistakes
Now,
are made.
test dummy from your mom, test dummy from your stepfather. I use quotes because you use quotes. So, this is Simon Says. So, test dummy from both parents, test dummy from biological father.
Test dummy from my mom and my stepfather.
Okay.
Just because, again, I had a very church upbringing. I wasn't born in the church, but I was raised in the church. So both my mom and my stepfather are ministers in the church.
Okay.
So I had a lot of church background and experience being Pentecostal apostolic. Shout out to the PAW, if those that are familiar with that. And dealing with, again, my brothers, like, one, I was the test dummy, but two, I was the third adult in the household. You know what I'm saying? To keep it a buck.
Okay.
I had to grow up very quickly as a kid, as a teenager, as a preteen, because my parents were working. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were working, they were bringing in bread. You know what I'm saying? And while they were doing that, if I wasn't at school, then I was at home taking care of my brothers. And what that looked like was basically, keeping the house together, washing the dishes, washing everyone's clothes, making sure that everybody's fed, making sure that we're watching not Coco Lemon because it was Bear in the Big Blue House back in the day. You feel me? But
so I was gonna say, so did that make you like offensive? Like, did you harbor any ill feelings because these aren't your kids? I mean, they're your siblings, but they're not your children. And very true, your parents had to work. However, they're the adults.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they figure it out instead of you having to be the adult or the child adult?
For sure.
Did you ever feel some type of way?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like 12 years a slave, girl. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I can laugh about it now, but like being in it, like completely different story.
Okay.
Because.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's
right.
real.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely did. It made me hella independent. You know what I'm saying? Like hella reliant on myself. You know what I'm saying? Which is a double-edged sword, if we're honest, and if we're.
I was gonna say it is a double-edged sword. Because also, do you feel like that you missed out on some things as a child because you were focused on being an adult? Do you think you missed out?
I can't say that I really did because I don't know what things I would really be missing out on. I feel like that's subjective. You know what I'm saying? According to my childhood and what I experienced, like my way of life was going to church. You know what I'm saying? We did all the fun things in church. You feel me? Like I would go to retreat. I would go to church camp. You know what I'm saying? Like I would do all of those things.
I didn't definitely put a mud pie on the grill. So
no, we definitely had childhood. Like I definitely had a bike. We definitely rode bikes. You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
we definitely went outside. You know what I'm saying? But played with the other kids. You feel me? Like
in the neighborhood.
Yeah, we had neighborhood friends, we had neighborhood families and other parents that would watch us, you know what I'm saying? Or, hey, Miss Wilson, how you doing? Hey, James, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? How's your mother? You feel me? Like, it was definitely community and, like, tribe-based in that regard because I grew up in the ghetto. I feel like we all have our own ghetto, but I grew up in the ghetto, you know what I'm saying? It was Perry School Apartments, because that's what we called it. But it was literally across the street from my kindergarten, which was Perry School. I went there and did that, but growing up with with my brothers, like, again, it was just there were times for play, but I feel like if I'm very honest and transparent, like a lot of my memories are focused on like the disassociation of being a child and directly like adulting.
Okay.
Yeah. I was the nerd. I was the bookworm. You know what I'm saying? Like, my first day of kindergarten, I remember, or my mother tells me, that she says the first day you came home from kindergarten, you told me, you said, "Mommy, I love school," and she said that I prayed that you never lose that spirit of loving school. And K through 12, child, I love school. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what what was going on or what it looked like. Obviously, going from middle school to high school is completely different culture, completely different type of energy, completely different type of experience. But all in all, like, I was always able to navigate and keep my head in the books and do what I needed to do for myself in regards to my education because it was important for the Black family. You feel me?
Now, you said kindergarten was across the street. Perry School was across the street because y'all lived in Perry School Apartments across the street. Exactly. Was Perry School just kindergarten, or did you go K through 5th, K through 3rd?
I think I did K through 2nd, I want to say. And then from there, I went to George Elementary, which is where I did like all of my primary grades, K through 5, to 3 through 5, and then middle school, and then high school.
So you only went to 3 schools from up until
Perry, George, East Middle, Ipsy High, 4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you were in elementary school, did you have? Now with your brothers, you said y'all wasn't rambunctious, but was any of your brothers the child that the teacher was always calling home, the principal was always calling home?
Not to my knowledge, girl. Like, honestly, but then again, as we grew up, like, because I consider myself the observant one. Again, I'm the oldest, so like I've considered the test dummy, but my brothers got in trouble a lot more than I did, and I never got in trouble because I'm watching y'all motherfuckers get in trouble. So that's gonna alleviate me from getting from any type of trouble because I don't want what y'all got. I don't want those trials. I don't want those tribulations. I don't want those whoopings. I don't want them.
Okay, so I was about. You took the words out of my mouth, Mike. I'm just come on. Please.
The number's Cleo. Tap in. Oh yeah, child.
Pick up my hat.
She got in trouble. Like, she isn't me as he got in trouble. Like, but it was
so tell us the one incident, or for now, one incident stick out in your brain. Tell us the one or not the one, but a incident that sticks out your head the most from let's say between K through 5th grade, because that's like elementary school or younger school, however you call it, where your mom had to tell in you whatever that looked like for you.
So there was one. Well, I'll never forget it because it's always the one. One time in elementary school, and I don't know what it was about the summertime, but I mean, I understand why we as adults go up for the summertime because it's like it's summertime. You feel me?
It's summertime.
But it was at the start of the summer, the end of the school year, right before summer break, and that's when I decided to show my ass. Okay, so it was this guy or this student. His name was Tyler. I don't remember his last name. Short, stubby white boy. And felt the need to, I don't know what we were doing, child. Maybe he was bullying me, or maybe there was something happening during gym period. It's always during gym period, ain't it? They just like to show their ass during gym period. Think they so bad. But yeah, child, he tried to, something was going down. We ended up going into this like connecting space, like this hallway space between the stage, because we had the stage in the gym, which is where we had our assemblies and all that stuff. So it was like the in-between space, child. And he tried to fight me, and I beat his ass. Like, when I tell you, you know, luckily I take care of my hands now because these are money makers. But you know, I had claws back in the day, and I scratched the fuck out of him, and I beat his ass. Period.
Oh, Tyler's probably, you know, needing a little therapy right now because
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't even know who he's at.
Hopefully he's not. What did your parents? What did your mother and your stepfather say?
You know, they were shook because it was so unlike me. Like, you know, it was completely out of character. You feel me? Like, he would never do anything like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely gave a lot of that. But at the same token, I was, you know, I had my own experiences in high school, definitely with a couple of bullies, believe it or not. Like, Tyler was just one that was in school. Once I got to middle school / high school, there was another one called named Steven. There was another one named Dion. Like, the niggas love me.
You're listing bullies, and how did that, like, how was that aspect, like, being bullied? And because you listed at least 3.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And you was about to say another one. So how was that for you?
It was tough. It was definitely like a point of anxiety for me because I was a very sheltered kid. Like, my mom protected me, hands down. Like, yes, you would want me to go outside and play with the other kids, but at the same token, like, any shit go down, like, where's my baby? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like any parent is going to try to, like, protect their kids from danger seen and unseen, to quote Bible, you know what I mean, or to quote church. But there's only so much that you can do, and I feel like the things that I wasn't able to learn or experience because they call it street smarts and book smart. So, like, I had a good amount of book smarts, but I didn't have too much street smarts. So I feel like that made me a target, you know what I mean? It made me easy prey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't pay too much attention to people. I'm very introverted. I'm very to myself. So niggas is like, oh, he not gonna do shit. Like, I can fuck with him. I can pick on him.
Now, being a church, I was raised in the church as well. Did that also put a, I guess, stigma on you as well? Because most of the kids I went to school with didn't really talk about going to church. So were you the churchy kid? You know, I always got that. Were you the churchy kid who, you know, didn't really know much more outside of the church, you know, outside of church, which also made you a target?
Yep, that was me.
How was that? How was that?
Being in church, I didn't mind it because I still had my close circle of family friends in church. You know what I'm saying? So what I wasn't necessarily connecting with, you know, in school, I was definitely able to always find safe haven at that time in church. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had, you know, people from the praise team and people from the choir and people from Sunday school, you know what I'm saying, that I could always connect with. But I feel like the through line between school and church and me is that I always felt like the outcast that kind of was able to fit in with everyone but still felt like alone in a room full of people.
Why you feel like alone for the people?
Because I felt that way at home.
Did you tell your parents?
Huh?
I'm sorry, Mike. Did you tell your parents? Did you tell your parents or your brothers?
My brothers were too young to grasp
at that time
anything like that, and my parents were too busy for work. So no, there was no open dialogue and communication as to struggles and feelings and emotions. It's like, when I come home, take care of the family. When I'm at school, do your schoolwork. When you at church, praise the Lord. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. They lying through the cracks of their teeth.
And who's in them?
Mine ain't either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
I really didn't know how to handle bullies, to be very honest and transparent with you. One of them, I actually like, and it's not embarrassing, but it is like, girl, really? But I had a family friend. Her name was, what is her name? Tanisha. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It's probably not her name. I'm sorry, sis. I still love you down because you served your purpose for the time in the time in my life that I needed you. Okay, no shade. But my mom had a family friend. Her name was Miss Teresa, and her eldest daughter. She would walk me to the bus station every morning because I had a bully. So that was like my life. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't protected in that way, I felt like I was susceptible to whatever the streets had for me that day. You feel me? Like it gave that. And for me, like at that point, like I wasn't really tussling or trying to fight with anyone because they were picking on me. It was just like, girl, why are you picking on me? Like I don't bother anybody. Like I don't do anything, and I don't fight. Like, and if I do fight, I'm fighting to kill you. I'm not fighting.
You clearly fight. However, clearly, run the tape back, Mike.
Run the tape back.
Because you clearly fight. However, now was there ever a time that Miss Tanisha did not walk you to school and there was an incident where police could have came after you, or no?
No, I mean nothing where police was involved. I feel like there was one instance after a school day, probably before no, it was the day that I graduated from middle school and was going into high school. So the story goes as follows. I'm getting off the bus, or I'm on the bus on my way back to Perry Street, and I remember it was this boy. His name was Jamal. Had a big ass family.
So that's a different name.
Yeah,
you said Steven. You said Tyler. Jamal is new, so that's the fourth one.
Jamal is new. This is a new character. Plot twist. So right, you taking notes? You getting it? This is for the biopic. You got it? So Jamal's on the bus. He's talking mad shit. Again, I'm to myself, like trying to mind my business. Minding my business. I'm minding my business.
Now, at this time, as Jamal is going off at the mouth, do you know Jamal is talking about you specifically?
Yes. Like, it's dead ass. Like, oh, I beat your ass. Like, you ain't gonna do shit. Like, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, blase, blase, blah. And I'm just sitting there, like, in silence. But at the same token, like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I'm also like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because if this bitch is gonna fight me, I'm not about to get my ass beat, like, at all. So that's all simmering and coming up to a boil, you know what I'm saying? But at the same token, everybody else on the bus is seeing this. So they're like, leave James alone, like, don't mess with him, like, he ain't do nothing to you, like, everybody's kind of sticking up for me on the bus. Because one, they don't... Well, that's the thing, because they're like, one, we don't know if he's like actually gonna whoop your ass, or two, we just don't want to see him get hurt because he really don't bother nobody like that. You feel me? So it's like it was given duality at a very young age, and ultimately there was no confrontation that came out of that at the end of the day. Thank you, Jesus. But like it was definitely like a thing of like people was like, James is weak.
Yeah, a lot of close calls with these.
Yeah, a lot of close calls.
Trying to take you down just because. Nah.
You know, some people like to call that the devil, but we just call it hateration or holleration.
Now, as a church kid, the person I was raised, I played Baby Jesus. Christmas, 6 months old.
Yes.
Manger. I mean, the bag is the bag. Like,
okay, period.
Any means necessary, you know. Being that I was a church kid, I know you said you had your friends at church, like, being that you didn't have friends, well, not you didn't have her, but if you really didn't mess with the people at school, your friend or your family and friends at church made up for that. Was there a, like, was there a which I know you said you was like quiet to yourself, Was that a school James and was it a church James? Because it was a school patron and it was a church patron.
Oh, for sure.
Different people.
For sure. Code switching before I even knew what code switching was, baby. Not gonna lie to you. Like, Church James was, you know, the one that was always, like, again, singing in the praise team, singing in the choir, doing all the church rallies, you feel me? Like, going to all the church camps, going to all the retreats, because service and dedication within
Vocation Bible school.
Right. All of that. Like, all of that.
Well, that's pretty much what it was, because once you code switching is like, hey girl, to the point where you're like, oh, thank you very much, I appreciate your service.
Exactly.
And that's how, and so go ahead about your code switch. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, Church James was Church James, definitely. Like, and I was in church for, like I said, since as young as I can remember, up until I would say 2012. Oh, and that was around the time that I came out and was dealing with my sexuality directly to my mother and my stepfather. So after that point, like, I was out of the house, and I was grown.
So what was your age in 2012?
18, 19, 20.
Okay.
I was
so
20.
That was like right after high school?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so code switching.
So School James was the one that was, again, the bookworm. But I was still cool enough to, well, I would say throughout my high school career, 4 years, I was able to mix and mingle with all of the social groups. So everybody knew of James, whether or not they really knew James. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was initially, or primarily, like the choir kid, the music kid. So being able to have access to that community kind of gave me segue into other communities because of my talent. I'm a singer. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, James, you can sing. Ooh, he can sing. Sing something for me, James. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it was in high school. You were singing. Okay. In high school.
Yeah, because you gave me the giggity gaga before we even got on the camera, Mike, and it's fine. It's okay. No, I was a singer in high school. I mean, I was a singer in church. So, you know, having that church upbringing, that's the training.
Did you start singing in church?
I started singing in elementary school. I realized I could sing in elementary school. That was the epiphany. That was the light bulb moment. Yeah. Style currently is soul music. It was gospel foundations, and then my parents weren't so uptight that we didn't listen to R&B and soul music and like Motown and late 80s, early 90s, you know, R&B and those male groups and so on and so forth. So I got exposure. Like, I was not. Hip hop was out of the question. Hip hop was definitely out of the question. Yeah. We were. Mm-hmm. And you know,
that's what the people on the street said. They want to know. The people of the story of want to know.
What I tell the people usually is that I get paid for that. No shade.
Ooh.
But you know, we on the story of, so we got to give the people what they want, right? Good job.
That's it. That's all you get.
Okay, period. No, but people, I could do that. So let's see what it's giving. Let's see what's on my heart, as the church people would say. Give it, Lord. Lay it on me. Not lay it on me, Kelly Rowland. I don't want to lay it like that.
Ooh,
okay. A chair is still a chair, even if there's no one sitting there. But oh, a chair is not a house, and a house is not a home when there's no one there to hold you tight and no one there you can kiss good night. And now and then I call your name, Jesus, and suddenly your face appears, but it's just a crazy game. When it ends in tears, because we know placement and we know our notes. But pretty little darling, have a heart. Don't let these mistakes keep us apart. I'm not meant to live alone. Turn this house into a home when I climb those stairs. I'm jumping all over the song if y'all can't tell. That's it.
Then you got the comments going. They going nuts in the comments.
What they saying, friend? What they saying?
I'm talking about like peanut butter and jelly. I want to be, I want to do this professionally during that, your teenage growing up time.
To be very honest and transparent with you, that moment didn't come until after I moved to California.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that later.
Yep.
Okay, we's gonna get to that. We's gonna get to that.
Ding.
Okay, so, you have 3 younger brothers with your mom. So excuse me, 5. Is that correct?
So 3, including me, is 4, and then one on one.
4. Okay, so 3 younger brothers with your mom. With your mom and your stepdad. Now, was there ever, which I hear this sometimes when a child does not have the same father? Was there ever any you felt like they get treated better than me type situation?
Treated better? No. more
mean
attention.
that it was like,
yes.
I mean, that's kind of one and the same, but okay.
Okay.
It's kind of one and the same.
For sure. So yeah, definitely treat it better, because I felt like, as they say in spiritual community, where focus goes or energy flows. So I felt like I wasn't getting a lot of energy, and a lot of the things, or a lot of the energy and focus that was given to my brothers, as I now understand it, having these discussions with my parents, is like they needed it. You know what I'm saying? They needed that attention. They needed that focus. They needed that energy.
So you were the strong kid. That's what you're saying. And when the strong, okay. So how was it being how was it being the strong kid compared to your brothers? Because, yeah. Holy
that's the rep, ain't it? Wolverine, is that what it's giving me? Hashtag Wolverine. Okay, get the screenshot.
Well, how was it being the strong? I definitely understand. I was definitely the strong kid. So how was being the strong kid? And I'm not the oldest, so you're the oldest. How was being the strong kid?
It was draining. There was a lot of responsibility.
Okay.
It was a lot of expectation, be it from myself and from my parents. But moreover, I think it was more on myself because I knew, or I had my own perception of what my parents expected of me.
Okay.
So it was definitely tough. But I think because of that, like, we create defense mechanisms, we create patterns, we create, all the things that protect us for the time that we need it, or the time that we are going through these experiences. And for me, what that looked like was a lot of isolation, a lot of time to myself, a lot of just trying to figure it out on my own, and not communicate, because I felt like I never had the space and opportunity to really like unload and unpack and discuss.
See, that right there is the perfect time. We're gonna close this one out because we have episode 2 coming out next week, same time, same place. Okay, that's because y'all need, but to know that, y'all need to make sure y'all subscribe, y'all like, y'all comment, y'all share, okay? Because Bouey Films is blowing up, okay? And the story of it's back like never before. Y'all need to come back next week so y'all can hear the rest of James Eric Barmore Jr. That's what he said. Barmore. See, I'm chopping it up. My bad. My bad. I'm chopping it up with him. This has been so good, y'all. I just want to say that when I heard that the story of, wasn't gonna be doing its episodes every week, I was a little sad because the story of was a breakthrough for me. It was a breakthrough for me. So I was like, let me try to fill it out and see what I can do. So I'm so happy to be here, to be a part co-host to the story of. So Mike, thanks for bringing this back. But we're gonna end this on a happy note and be back next week to hear the rest of the story because it's gonna get good.
Baby, we got tea.
Oh, he said tea. See y'all next week. Bye.